Chapter 13, The Pussy Slayer. So what's up, Gabe? What happened to the rest? Asked Michael as he noticed Gabe was ignoring the question. Well, I don't know. Where to start? You want me to talk about the lackeys too? Asked Gabe finally, after breaking away from his own thoughts. No, just the key players. What happened to Sass Boy? Oh, he moved to Florida. Michael felt like digging deeper, but then remembered how he never really liked Sass Boy to begin with and decided to leave it there. Nasty Boy, asked Michael. Dude, fuck that guy, responded Gabe plainly enough. Michael then made a crooked smirk, remembering Nasty and all that he was about, and then thought, yeah, my sentiments exactly. And left that one at that. Tomboy. Oh, he moved upstate, got married, and started a family. Michael smirked hearing this as he found the story conflicting with the one he had heard in prison. Really? I heard he became a she and became some... Where did you hear that? Asked Gabe inquisitively as he narrowed his eyes onto Michael. Well, everyone kind of thought he wasn't, asked Gabe, seeming a bit disgruntled. He was just really that bad at hitting on chicks, and you guys kept picking on him over the matter. It used to really get to him, you know. We were just fucking around, and really it was all him instigating it. We usually say nothing, but he kept trying to prove that he wasn't, and he got annoying, broke out Michael in defense. Gabe then rolled his eyes, grew a smirk, and said, fine, I agree. He was a real insecure hothead about everything. Not just that, and sort of had it coming. Michael shook his head as he now remembered how Tomboy had once come up to him and asked him for trade secrets and chasing tail, and had then demanded Michael not to tell anybody about it. Well, I kept from telling anyone about that story for this long. He's married now. Yeah, I guess you're right about Tomboy. One time he asked me how to hit on chicks and what to say when he'd see them. Oh, really? How did that go? Asked Gabe, looking away and not minding the story behind it much yet. Well, I told him that wasn't what mattered. Told him how a lot of guys make the same mistake of thinking that getting to a woman is like trying to get into a speakeasy. You need to have some password to do it. Fucking open sesame bullshit. I told him first thing, right off the bat, he needed to do was make eye contact and smile and feel happy to see them and not fake it. Oh, wow, you're really going to get into this now in detail, are you? Asked Gabe, seeing as how lively Michael was getting explaining all this. Yeah, I am. Can I continue? Asked Michael as he waited for a nod. Gabe then nodded reluctantly. But yeah, people can genuinely tell when you try to fake liking them, so you're setting yourself up for certain failure when you do. Told him that and how when he smiled, he definitely not to drop eye contact or drop the smile getting intimidated. When you notice, they notice. That shows weakness, and women hate weakness because it reminds them how weak they are. How weak they are? Asked Gabe, wondering where Michael was going with this. Michael shrugged. Yeah, I mean, if you were always, emotional in a weak ways, smaller, scrawny, or insecure all the damn time and surrounded by a sex that generally wasn't, how would you be? Strength and power are the only things that they can see and care about in this world, since they were never born with it. It's what you call in psychiatric circles as penis envy. Now, yeah, I've seen some ogreish-looking women that could probably, body slam Andre the Giant at WrestleMania and such, but generally the majority are weak. The only true weapon they have in this world are their looks, if they're born with it, that is. And if you could get past that, which most guys can't, they're putty in your hands. Gabe stood there stupefied after what he just heard for about 4 seconds, then opened his mouth to say something, but then decided it wasn't worth telling Mike how much of a sexist prick he sounded there. Anyways, back to my story. I told him how what he needed to do was set the mood first. Body language, what that smile alone, if done correctly, it was half the battle. Rest of the battle being their stupid, silly test they'll give you to try to see if you're a pushover, which I always have to bite my lip and try not to laugh. But anyways, he then asked, well, what do I say to set the mood? Recounted Michael, lifting up one cheek in antipathy. What did you tell him? Well, I told him that, then how you feel dictates mood, and if you enjoy talking to them, they'll enjoy listening. If you don't, they won't. Confidence comes from the passion you feel inside when you really like somebody. You want them to like you, not some hot air that you confront them with. Just for show, just to impress and nothing else, so in the end you have to be genuine. Plus, if you're trying to fake a smile and pretend to like them, you're doing it all for the wrong reasons. Michael then paused and felt very, very depressed all of a sudden for some reason. I also then told him deep down women love to be dominated over. Even though they'll never admit it, they still do. That's how the sex act works. We fuck them, they don't fuck us. So you always have to remind them who is the penetrator and who is the penetratee. Are those even real words? Asked Gabe, smiling up like a smartass. Shut up. Anyways, then I realized I was probably going over his head with shit that he couldn't handle yet, being the dominating force and all, so I went back to talking about setting the initial mood. I asked him how he felt when talking to chicks. He said, great. I said, really? He said, yeah. Of course, I didn't believe him. So I asked him to close his eyes and think about every time he's talked to chicks. Then after 10 to 20 seconds, I asked him again. What did he say this time? Asked Gabe, now very intrigued. Well, he finally let out the truth of how he felt scared shitless talking to him. And I told him that was a problem. That was the awkward mood he was setting. The girls don't like that. No one would, really. If you got all awkward talking to me right now, I'd get all insecure and feel what you're feeling also. So what you're really doing is scaring them when you're that way. Mentioning then again, it's all body language. Gabe shrugged as Michael paused a bit. But then the dumbass asked me, then what do I have to say to not feel awkward or scared or something? Continued Michael, shaking his head. Gabe grinned a bit and shook his head also. Shit, finally I was like, do you want to fuck him? He said, yeah. I then said, then go up to them and just tell them how much you'd love to eat their fucking pussies out. And if you can muster up enough balls to say that, you'll never feel awkward again. Both Michael and Gabe were laughing now. But then he freaked when I told him that and said that could never work. Tomboy was just like most guys, completely oblivious to that whole body language vibe mechanic and how it works, and I just could not get through this idiot's head. There is no open sesame line, concluded Michael. Has it? Has the I want to eat your pussy line worked? Asked Gabe, knowing Michael and his shenanigans with women. Michael just smiled. Has it? Fucking A, it has. That was my number one pickup line from way back when. Of course, you gotta know when they want it. For they'll look you in the eyes beforehand and glare a bit with anticipation. Can't do that with the prude, man-hating librarian types. The ones that hate the thought of being dominated. Those crazy chicks will try to murder you before you even say hi to them. Just because their daddies didn't love them enough or something. Explained Michael, all wild-eyed. Gabe now faced Michael in Dutch angle and asked again, has it worked with the prude man-hating types? Michael then made a mischievous smile. Fucking A. Sometimes. Usually they'll slap the shit out of you first. That'll give you the look like they're scheming to bite your dick off later in revenge. But it has worked sometimes, especially when they slap you and you smile at them like you enjoyed it. That does something to them there then, though. And when it does work, I really felt like they were working out some man-hating aggression out on me through sex, which seemed therapeutic for them. So there, explained Michael as he shrugged. With the same mischievous smile, Gabe just shook his head and wondered why the man had never gotten a restraining order. Well, I guess with your looks, you could get away with anything, concluded Gabe in his thoughts. Plus, he began to think about something else. Dude, don't you ever worry about VD? Asked Gabe. No, what's that? Followed up Michael, looking like he really didn't know. Venereal disease. No, what's that? Gabe was speechless. Dude, what the fuck? Michael began chuckling. No, don't laugh. It's not funny. I know you're just fucking with me. How the hell can you not know about that stuff? But considering who he was dealing with, Gabe really began to wonder. Tell me you at least know about this new thing called AIDS. People are dying from that, you know. No, what's that? Asked Michael again, and before Gabe could think of a comment to follow up with the shit he was hearing, Michael busted out into laughter and said, don't worry, man, a week ago my parole officer, seeing to how a couple of the convicts at the dump I'm at next door had been complaining about the moaning noises coming from my place every night, well, he decided to pay for me to get a checkup. I'm clean. Clean, gasped Gabe, in shock, as a whistle, concluded Michael. Gabe was speechless again. Michael, on the other hand, felt like continuing with what he was saying earlier before being interrupted by over VD. Always the ones that ain't getting none that will come up to you asking you about that crap. If you ask me, this giant concern with VD going on now is just some shit the boring types are pushing to scare people into becoming just as unhappy and boring as they are. Everyone was fucking like crazy in the 70s, having a good time. You never heard so much concern. Rarely did people get anything serious. Really, just a bunch of bull. Although considering how many chicks I've been with, really am lucky not to have gotten one by now. Plus, how the hell would I get AIDS? I'm not gay. Of course, when chicks want it, when they hear that line, they'll instantly freaking delight. So when they hear it, they'll then try to drag me by my pubic hairs to the chick's restroom, block it, then sack me to the ground and try to sit on my, okay, Michael, okay. I don't want the details, cried out Gabe, knowing how much of a sex fiend Michael was and knowing there was no limit to how far he would go recounting his sexcapades if Gabe allowed him to. So, who else do you want to know about? Asked Gabe, trying to change the subject. Dude, girls are just as sex crazy as fine, I get it. Who else? Michael lifted up his pupils to think about it. White boy. Oh, he's with the BJAs now, said Gabe. Oh, really? Yeah, really, responded Gabe, looking surprisingly at Michael, as Michael did the same back. Dull boy. Oh, he really turned out to be gay, and has moved to San Fran, and now looks like a black Freddie Mercury. What do you mean? We'd go to bars or clubs, and he kept trying to compete with me over the same chicks, the cock-blocking asshole. Well, it turns out he was bi, The guy sometimes sends Polaroid pictures of himself to us, in the fucking mail, if you can believe, showing all the men and women he's been with, and sometimes all together, fucking pervert. Sneered Gabe through his teeth. Yeah, I remember he once showed me a Polaroid picture of himself fucking this Puerto Rican that he had picked up before I could. Then just smiled at me, all conceited like, what a flamboyant asshole he was. Gabe then busted out with a chuckle as he seemed to be enjoying going down memory lane. Michael smiled and felt glad that Gabe still could. Michael wasn't expecting him or anyone from the old gang to still care about those good old days as he did. Jackie boy. Oh, yeah, said Gabe, seeming distressed. Yeah, he died in a car crash while racing his hot rod. Ah, responded Michael, and they began remembering the red-headed, freckled Polish kid that was all into that retro rockabilly revival shit that was going on in the 70s. Actually, that's what I was into, too. The 50s gave us the ultimate teenage heartthrob look, and it will never be topped. Long live the memory of James Dean, long live. Jackie boy used to grease up and ducktail his flaming red hair to the back, and he'd always pick up the weirdest and freakiest and skankiest, yet nicest chicks Michael had ever met. Michael sighed. Shit, now I'm scared to go on. How about Rude Boy? Gabe then stopped. It had the look on his face of a dude on top of his chick ready to get some, although now just realizing he forgot to get the rubbers at the store. Hey, Gabe, what's with that look on your face, man? Chuckled Michael, finding his expression a little amusing. Gabe then turned around and shook his head in bewilderment and spoke. Damn, dude. I totally forgot about that guy. Sorry, I can't tell you. Michael was now sort of confused. Come on, Gabe. How do you not remember Rudy? Fucking Rudy. He was always, wait. But then Michael was astonished to find out he himself couldn't remember jack shit about the guy either. What the fuck? Well, that's weird. Feels like I got a mental block set up around that guy. All that comes to mind was the fact that he was one rude dude. I guess. Oh, and who else was there? Asked Gabe. Blue Boy. Oh, I have no idea, responded Gabe, seeming a bit spooked. Okay, good, I do remember him. How the fuck do I not remember? Man, I remember the little boy Blue and how he come in tooting his horn, coming in with all his overly elaborate dick jokes. One time I remember him talking about how he had caught this weird VD from a Romanian chick, and I asked, what's that? Knowing him and how he just like bullshit and make up stuff on the spot, he changed the story and said she really cursed it, and his penis wanted to grow wings and fangs at night and go vampire on people. And what's funny is he talked like he was being dead serious about it. He seemed so spooked out by the ideas. His eyes would like light up in a horror movie. Fucking vampire penis. What a bunch of stupid, silly shit. Michael then chuckled as Gabe made no response. and kept going on and on into detail with his tales of him and his vampirella there, which he named, saying his penis was really possessed by a 14th century demonic female vampire by that Bulgarian, or was it Romanian or Hungarian, something chick that fucked him. Yeah, I remember, said Gabe, still seeming spooked. Then he said how he tried to get a priest to exorcise the vampire demon and begged him, "Please, Father, exorcise my penis." Michael burst into laughter as Gabe continued to stone gaze. "The power of Christ compels you and all that. Yeah, throw some holy water on and burn the bitch out." Fucking stupid, silly shit. Always had us laughing how nuts he'd get with his stories he'd make up. So you have no idea what happened to him? Nope, responded Gabe, again not seeming to be taken in by Michael's recounts of Blue Boy. Not by the least, which began to distill Michael. Oh, you two weren't able to keep up, in touch or something? No, actually, if you remember, me and him used to be really cool. Okay, then what happened? Asked Michael, now feeling a bit spooked out himself while looking into Gabe's eyes. Well, we used to be neighbors, if you remember. And one day, him and his family were there. Next day, vanished, explained Gabe as he snapped his finger at the end. There. What? Yeah, I mean, overnight, they were gone. And in the morning, I remember seeing the door was open, so I walked in to bullshit with him like I always used to do. And there was nothing there. I mean, the place was empty. No family, no furniture, not even dust, and I checked. You checked for dust? Well, the place was always a pigsty. Let's just say, for example, they decided to move and escape some loan shark or something, and overnight, would they really clean up that well? An eerie sense began to fill up in Michael as he watched how frightened Gabe got, recounting his tale. Then I went into the bathroom and I thought I saw something in the cabinet mirror. What? Asked Michael, finding the story a little too surreal now. I don't know. It might have just been the lights playing around with my eyes, but I got the fuck out of there after that. Michael then smiled disbelievingly. Are you being serious? I mean, this all sounds like, no, Michael, I know how he was. Dick jokes are one thing, but him and his entire family just simply vanished like that? That's something else, explained Gabe as Michael began to believe the possibilities. Gabe then paused to reflect a bit as Michael waited impatiently for him to continue. And the thing is, Blue Boy always told me things. He'd tell me what he was up to when his family had lived in an apartment for 20 years. So what do you think happened? Asked Michael, feeling a bit skittish to hear a response. Gabe paused again as he readied his conclusion. Blue Boy. Let's just say he got gobbled up by the Twilight Zone, man. The TV people got to him, concluded Gabe as he glared into Michael's eyes intently. After another pause, both Michael and Gabe shuddered thinking about it, and then decided to move on. Well, wow. Wherever Blue Boy is, at least he's probably with Rude Boy now and could have him company. Maybe they both went up some plane and got erased from existence. Maybe I should look up some old pictures of the crew to see if the two are still... Michael then felt like pulling out his rosary to look at. But as he did, Gabe noticed. You want to kiss it, don't you? Asked Gabe, seeming distressed. What? Nothing. Something I remember you used to do a lot back in the day, concluded Gabe and walked off.